Welcome to Spooky Kids World, where strange, spooky, and mysterious adventures begin.
Gather round, turn down the lights, and get ready for a tale that's truly out of this world.
Tonight's story is about a friendship that's not just special, but cosmic. Literally. This is the boy who went to Mars. The moon hung high in the sky like a silver coin, casting long, eerie shadows across Ethan's bedroom.
It was late, way past his bedtime, but he was wide awake, staring out his window.
Everything was still and quiet, just the way it always was in his small town.
But then, something flickered in the corner of his eye.
A faint, glowing red light, pulsing softly in the darkness of his backyard.
At first, he thought it might be the taillight of a car, but it wasn't moving. It just hovered.
Curiosity got the better of him. Ethan tiptoed out of his bed, his bare feet cold against the wooden floor.
He pressed his face against the cool glass of the window, peering into the inky blackness.
The red light pulsed again, brighter this time, illuminating a small patch of the lawn.
And that's when he saw it. Something was definitely moving out there. It wasn't an animal he recognized, like a raccoon or a stray cat.
It was small, slender, and seemed to be hunched over.
His heart started to beat a little faster.
Should he wake up his parents?
Should he hide under his covers and pretend he saw nothing?
Before he could decide, the light flickered wildly, like a broken firefly. And then, it happened.
A small, strange creature stood bathed in the crimson glow. It had large, dark eyes, long, thin arms, and a gentle, almost curious expression. It wasn't scary. Not really. Just different. In its hands, it held a small orb that glowed with the same red light. The creature looked lost, scared, and completely alone.
Ethan ducked down below the windowsill, his mind racing. An alien? An actual alien, right in his own backyard.
He held his breath, listening. He expected loud noises, maybe a zap or a whir, but all he heard was the quiet chirp of crickets. Slowly, cautiously, he peeked over the edge again. The little creature was looking right at his window. When their eyes met, it didn't run or attack. Instead, it offered a soft, hesitant smile and raised one of its three-fingered hands in a gentle wave. Something inside Ethan told him not to be afraid. He took a deep breath, unlocked the back door, and slipped out into the chilly night air.
The alien watched him, its large eyes blinking slowly.
As Ethan got closer, the creature made a series of soft, beeping sounds, like a tiny computer waking up.
It pointed to itself and chirped.
Zaru!
Then it pointed at Ethan. Ethan! He whispered back, his voice barely audible. Zaru held out the glowing orb.
As Ethan reached for it, images and feelings flooded his mind.
He saw a vast, red-orange landscape under a pink sky. He saw Zaru's spaceship spiraling out of control, crashing through the atmosphere.
He understood that Zaru was a traveler, an explorer, and his ship had broken down near Earth.
The orb was a translator of thoughts, a bridge between their two worlds. They didn't need words. They had something better.
Understanding. Over the next few nights, a secret friendship blossomed under the stars.
After his parents were asleep, Ethan would sneak out to the woods behind his house, where Zaru had managed to hide the small, dented spaceship.
Ethan brought Zaru snacks from the pantry. Chocolate chip cookies were his favorite, and Zaru would share stories of his home planet, Mars, through the glowing orb. Ethan saw images of towering red mountains, underground cities made of crystal, and creatures that floated on the thin Martian air like jellyfish in the sea. Together, they worked to fix the ship. Ethan wasn't an engineer, but he was good at finding things.
He brought Zara wires from old electronics,
spare metal parts from his dad's garage, and even his entire collection of batteries.
Zaru, with his delicate, precise hands, would carefully piece everything together. They communicated through a mix of gestures, beeping sounds, and the shared visions from the orb.
They would laugh when Ethan tried to imitate Zaru's beeps, and Zaru would tilt his head in fascination as Ethan explained what a dog was. In that quiet patch of woods, they weren't a boy and an alien. They were just two friends working on a project. But they both knew their time was running out. One night, after they had finally attached the last piece to the ship's engine,
Zaru looked at Ethan with a sad expression. He held up the orb, and Ethan felt the message clearly. It is time.
I must go home. A wave of sadness washed over Ethan. He didn't want his friend to leave. Then Zaru sent another thought, a question that made Ethan's heart stop. Do you want to come with me? To see my home? The thought was filled with images of soaring over red canyons and meeting Zaru's family. It was an invitation to the greatest adventure imaginable. Ethan looked back at his house, where his family was sleeping peacefully. He thought about his school, his friends, his whole life on Earth. But then he looked at Zaru, his best and most secret friend, and the little silver spaceship that they had fixed together. He hesitated for only a second, then gave a firm, determined nod. Zaru's face lit up with a joyful series of chirps. He took Ethan's hand and led him up the ramp into the small cockpit. The door hissed shut behind them, sealing them inside. With a low hum that was barely a whisper, the ship lifted off the ground.
It rose silently, clearing the tops of the trees, then climbing higher and higher into the night sky.
Ethan pressed his face against the viewport, watching his town shrink below him.
Soon,
it was just a cluster of lights, and then even those faded as they soared into the blackness of space. From the window of the spaceship, Ethan looked down at the world he was leaving behind. The Earth was a breathtaking swirl of blue, white, and green, a glowing marble suspended in the endless dark. It was more beautiful than any picture he had ever seen. He was a boy from a small town, now floating among the stars, on his way to Mars with his best friend. He wasn't scared. He felt a sense of wonder and peace he had never known before.
The next morning, the sun streamed into Ethan's empty room.
His parents called his name for breakfast, but there was no answer.
When they opened his door, they found his bed neatly made, but empty.
Everything was in its place, just as he had left it. Everything! Except for one small, strange object lying on his pillow, right where his head should have been. It was a smooth red stone, and it pulsed with a faint, warm, otherworldly glow. Sometimes, friendship comes from the most unexpected places, even from another planet.
And sometimes, the greatest adventures begin when we're brave enough to say yes to the unknown.
What do you think happened to Ethan? Did he ever come back? The universe holds many secrets. Thank you for joining us on this cosmic journey. Don't forget to like, comment with your theories, and share this story with a friend who loves adventure. And of course, subscribe to Spooky Kids World for more mysterious stories that will take you beyond your imagination. We'll see you next time.